time and time again. We've seen it in South America. We are seeing that the right ideas and their philosophy is winning. Let's adhere to that. And let's understand that from a political perspective, that now is the time to stop the far rightness and govern. If we govern, we will get everything our way in a period of time, or it will come a lot closer. But let's stop, let's stop the not governing and not being able to elect a speaker, and all those other things, I'm saying, that is causing chaos as we move forward. Now is the time to think longer term and understand that people are accepting our ideas, and let's move forward with that. That said, hey, a great night last night. We went to Uncle Ernie's and enjoyed some seafood down at Bourbon, and seen a lot of people, from Sullivan, Bourbon area, and enjoyed the night very much. I'm sure probably part of our guests have been there and knows where that is, but enjoyed it thoroughly, and a good place to go on a Wednesday, probably any night, but generous offerings of food, and we had the seafood, had the crab legs, Jerry, and it is good. It is very good. Just so much work, but anyway, well, that's been there and done. So our guest today, what a pleasure. What a pleasure to have two of Gasconade County's finest in here. Clyde, there's absolutely no question about it, and we need to stay apprised of that, and let people be informed. But Clyde, give me a heads up on, I know Rosebud has always got a lot of things going on, there's no doubt. Give me a heads up of what's coming up, because Rosebud's on fire, without a doubt, and there's a lot going on. And
when other towns weren't doing good, Rosebud was holding its own and doing pretty good.
Freedom and liberty and entrepreneurship and passion.
A lot of small
business. Those are the drivers,
But this Saturday, as normal, this will start at 3 o'clock. Say 2:45 will be the lineup. 3 o'clock will be a emergency services and Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus town parade. So 3 o'clock, Santa Claus will be in the horse and in the carriage and riding through town. And eventually Santa Claus will be sitting there talking to all the kids, everybody on their knee, and the presents will be flowing. And how I know that is I just have a little inside information on who's going to play Santa Claus. 5 years, I think, in a row now. And so we'll be ready. I can usually, or Santa, can usually impress the kids, because you can't hardly get a kid that comes over that Santa doesn't know who they are, or who their dad is, or who their grandpa is.
Santa's got a big book.
Santa's like, hey, I know exactly who you are, and I know exactly mom and dad and grandpa and grandma, and they just are impressed to no end. And a few of them actually pull the beard. So it won't be long, as I was telling Jerry here, it won't be long, and that beard can be trimmed.
You might be able to do the Wendy's commercial.
They got a Santa Claus on there too?
They got a Santa Claus, and somebody, one of the workers goes up and checks,
sits on his lap sometimes. Well, that's Saturday. Rosebud's usually got a lot going on, but that'll be Saturday, and it's free. It's open to the public. We invite everybody to come. As almost always, everything about Rosebud doesn't cost any money. It's just a community event, and we welcome everybody, whether you're from Drew, Rosebud, Owensville, or Sullivan, Bourbon, who's ever listening, come on. Highway 50, Highway T, you can't miss it. Just get to Rosebud before 3 o'clock.
A lot of good ways to get there from the south. A lot of good ways to get there from the north, Rosebud's kind of at the crossroads there, and things are going well. And we know...
Out the north here, I get in trouble for leaving out the northern end of the county.
I can almost spit to the northern end. We are sitting in here, but You know, that
Yeah.
next fence line of mine is the north.
Yeah.
You know,
My farm, the majority of my farm, our farm, the Plum
Is in
family
the
farm,
north.
Is in the north, right.
so people can't label you,
No,
Jerry.
no.
You know what I'm saying?
No. And I don't want to. I support the whole county.
You do.
know, and Rosebud is a thriving community. They do all the right things, or try to do all the right things, and they're impressive. You know, we have very little issues with having to ask for help from the county. Rosebud just takes care of themselves, and it's because they're people that run the city. You know, which I know every one of them. They do a good job, a great job with the government and how they do it and how they promote their city and things like that. Rosebud is a very well kept community.
Yeah, it is. And you know, their driving force, and you can see it through and through in every entrepreneur in Rosebud. I can, or I think I can. Their driving force is something that's lacking throughout a whole lot of other places in the world.
Right.
Their passion.
That's right.
Their passion, you know, if you're not, you know, life can be great if you're all in. You know, life is great if you're all in. If you're halfway in, it's no good in any regard, you know. But
and Rosebud works together. They're a community minded. They're a family oriented. That's what they're about. And they work together. You know, they don't work against each other. They work together. Rosebud really.
You know, when I was a teenager, Dad was the mayor. Dad took his turn as the mayor.
Yeah.
I took my turn two terms. So that's 4 years as the mayor. My wife was. So when you're talking about family, it isn't just my family.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to take their turn at being the mayor and alderman or trying to help the town out.
Yep.
So I think that's great. It's a little rare. I wish that more towns would see how Rosebud's doing and just try to copy that.
Yeah.
well, there's a lot going on in our area, but you can see that the seeds have been sown, you know, across our great county, you know, and across mid-Missouri here. I think the seeds of growth are growing. You know, they've certainly been, you know, planted, Jerry, and the county and governing is a huge part of where we're going and the direction we're taking. And I know you as a commissioner and Clyde as the EMT have a plate full, you know what I'm saying, in regard to those changes, you know what I'm saying, and what's going on. Challenging in a time of budget, you know, challenging in time of tribalness, you know, but you're maintaining and we're getting some things done.
Yeah. Well, and Gasconade County's growing. We're always looking for new businesses to come in. I work closely with GBiz through MRPC, you know, and that's a big part of what I think builds a community is the businesses. You know, whether it's local mom and pops or whether it's big businesses coming in, employing hundreds of people. You know, we're always looking for different options, you know, and more of them. And Owensville has really thrived at that. They're more of the hub of industry. Herman is more the hub of tourism, which they do a great job of promoting there.
They do.
Another town. Herman does a great job of promoting their tourism and things like that. Not that they don't have businesses, they do. They have a lot of small businesses, which mom and pops and things like that. But the big industries and stuff, they are not quite as, you know, advanced as what Owensville is. And we're always trying to build more because if you have the businesses, the tax base always goes up and stays there. But Gasconade County has a mix, you know, and that's what
We do.
really we complement each other with Herman being what they are and developing theirs to what they want to do. They do a good job, and Owensville same way. You know, Owensville.
Great microcosm of
Absolutely.
Missouri,
It
you
just
know,
does.
because you got tourism, you got agriculture, you got small businesses, you got big businesses, and that's
That's
who we
what
are.
it is, the diversity. You know,
Yes.
and that's what we have to have. And you know, we look at that, and to talk about one thing about what we've done in the last couple of years is the use tax. You know, the use tax was passed. We tried numerous times, and I'm not one for raising taxes, but this use tax was a fair tax, you know, put on that we should have been getting all along.
I agree.
Because people, when they shop out of Gasconade County, they didn't have to pay it. Now with the use tax, they have to pay that. And it's amazing what that use tax is going to do for Gasconade County. Not
Is
that
it
it's
coming
gonna
in
be-
yet?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's coming in, and it's way more than we expected to be. So that just shows you how much business was going out of town. You know, I'm not talking about, you know,
But now
we're
that's
talking about millions.
If a person was ordering something online.
Correct. If they do not have a storefront in Gasconade County or in the state of Missouri, then they have to pay, they didn't have to pay that use tax before. Now we put that use tax on, which is not an added tax, it's just something you never was paying. Now with it added on there,
We can
you
collect
buy
it back.
We collect it back, the state collects it back. So, I mean, it's fair, you know, it's fair to the local businesses because, you know, they couldn't help it, they had to charge tax. You know, these companies doing business outside of town, and I don't blame the people for going out because they could buy it cheaper, but I believe in local businesses. I believe in supporting them as much as I can. There's some things in Gasconade County you can't buy, you know, you have to go out, but now we get that tax returned to us, which is really going to help Gasconade County as far as on their budgeting.
And in most situations, and Jerry, we've been working at this when I was the commissioner.
Correct.
20 years ago,
That's right.
we talked
That's
about
right.
this.
That's right.
20 years ago, we've been losing that. And in a lot of situations, that tax is already collected when you make that purchase.
Correct.
But they're, you know,
We just
because
can't get
of
it.
the
The state
different
just
states
won't
and
do
where
it.
they are, the states hold on to that. You know, or the local state where it's coming from, or the state of Missouri, if there's no way to get that revenue back to the county, guess what?
Right.
They keep it. It's already collected.
And
You know, and, okay.
And Gasconade County is a county that hasn't raised taxes. If you look at our past experience, 20, 30, 40 years ago, there has been no taxes raised because when our tax base raises on the sales tax part of it, we have to roll back property tax. So that, I mean, which is fine, but that's just the way it is. There's some, with the Hancock Amendment, the schools and different ones that's passed taxes, doesn't have to do that, but the county couldn't increase the revenue in any way. This actually increases the county's revenue so they can do more and provide more for their constituents. And so I'm not for raising, paying more taxes, but this one here was a tax that was already probably being paid by most people. Just that Gasconade County wasn't receiving it back. Now we're receiving it back. So that's a good thing, and I think...
And that benefits everybody as a whole.
Everybody as a
It's
whole.
not a law enforcement situation. This goes to the bottom line. That goes to do some of the work that I just seen in the paper that you guys got to do now, and that's the state sets, you know, some standards in regard to, you know, salaries, you know, for elected officials.
Right.
And, you know, you guys have to deal with that at this juncture now. And some of these are pretty healthy, you know, raises in regard to where the Gasconade County was.
Right.
I'm not saying that's not worth it. I'm not saying anything. But
No.
some of these raises are pretty substantial and take some consideration.
And that's dictated by the state, by the legislatures, which, you know, like I say, you know, county employees, elected officials, all, they're not overpaid. They all do a good job. We have some of the best elected officials. Working with them as I do, and now we're starting the budget, we have always had a good working relationship, and I appreciate all elected officials and our employees do. Clyde here with the EMD, he does a good job. He keeps us informed. He keeps us up to date. He keeps Ameren UE happy, is where our funding, a lot of it comes from. And I appreciate what he does and all the employees we have. From the road department, we have a good crew out there. They do a good job. They're conscientious about, you know, the roads and stuff. And not saying they're all perfect. You know, our county is improving every year. And, you know, I'm proud to be a part of it. I really am. I enjoy it.
Well, you should be, you know, because there is an overall improvement in where we are.
Oh.
And you know, other issues that we worked on, Jerry, you know, 911, that was just so difficult, you know, with so much tribalism in, you know, in all these entities out here. They're working together better than they ever had
They're coming around.
before.
Yes.
And it's taken 20 years, you know what I'm saying? But it is absolutely coming around. I've seen recently where the city of Herman, you know what I'm saying, was using that as a maybe short-term dispatch, you know,
Right,
situation.
they're doing it after hours, after their office hours, which I think, I'm not sure how their contract reads, but I think they're doing it in the time whenever they're not open down there, which, you know, is
Saving
fine.
money.
I still, they're trying to save money with it, but they need to be all in. They really should, because we're talking about the safety of the people here. That's what it's all about. And, you know, when you're transferring calls and things like that, I don't think, in my personal opinion, it's a good idea, but, you know, they're working it. I think they're going to come around. I think Herman will be on board with 911, which the county commissioners, none of us have anything to do with it anymore.
No, I know
It's a
that.
board of their
I
own.
know that.
So, you know, it's, I think
know.
that was, I think that's been an issue, but now it's their own board, they govern it, they do a good job there, and I think they're dispatching for other counties too. certain portions,
certain
yeah.
aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's good stuff, and that's, that's part of what Clyde's job is too,
Right.
I'm saying in regard to working with, 911 and emergency management.
Earlier while I was here, I was texting back and forth with Gasconade County's 911 about an issue that we're resolving. So I'm the Gasconade County Emergency Management Agency Director. I'm one man, just in case anybody doesn't know that, and I've been here before, I'm just one man that is normally looking at any emergency that might take place in Gasconade County for our residents or anybody that might be traveling through. And if there was an emergency, a big emergency, like Callaway Power Plant maybe had a problem, or bad weather, bad storms, it gets too cold, it gets too hot, we have a bad fire, or we have some kind of civil unrest where the sheriff needed even more than what resources that he normally had, I run that small agency and try to coordinate all these other agencies, and I do think we work better together now than we did years ago.
Takes time.
There's very little politics in it now. I tell them if I can help, let me know, and they say the same thing. If you need anything, Clyde, you let us know. Normally, that's how it works. So that's what I do for Gasconade County. Besides, for the city of Rosebud, make sure Santa Claus shows up on time. It's two very important. Depends on how old you are, which one's the most
yeah, which one
important.
are the most important? That's right.
Still important to grandpas, you know what I'm saying, and such. But
Yeah.
So Jerry, there's a lot going on in the county. I don't know if you guys have made the decision in regard to the salary, situation. What is it for the public administrator is on?
Yes, we did. We had a
there?
salary commission meeting last week. Both of them was raised. It wasn't an overall unanimous vote because there was some, discussion had on it, but they ultimately got what the public administrator got the full amount. The coroner, he was asked what he wanted, and he got what he asked for. So, and they'll look at the next salary commission meeting to see if it should be raised to the all the way to the top level.
The salary commission in the county.
made up.
Yeah, but that includes the commissioners and who else?
All elected officials. All
Okay.
elected officials. The sheriff is not on it now because the sheriff's under a different legislature deals. He got his raise last year, and he's not on the salary commission. The judges are not, but it's all other elected officials, including the prosecuting attorney as of now. The prosecuting attorney, they're looking to move her on to a different salary scale. Right now, she's considered a part-time, so her salary is not near where I think it should be. I mean, because she's got a lot of work to do, And
Of course.
I think in all, I think it's fair. I think what the salary commission did was right. So, but that was done last week or week before. So that goes into effect after the next election. None of these raises take effect till after the next election.
Right.
So you don't take
You got to be elected because you're not. Those rules haven't changed.
No.
You can't vote yourself.
Correct.
A raise, you have to be, if you vote for it or if you vote against it, you have to be elected again before that kicks in.
correct. That's
Which
correct.
is,
And we're just starting up budget time now. This gets to be a busy time of year for us. We're starting to budget this month, and we have to have it done. So we will quit paying bills sometime in late December. We won't pay bills again until February because we have to get the budget approved, get all that done, and that's a big process. But like I say, it's a lot easier when you have other elected officials that understand the system and how it works. And we're not a rich county. We're not.
No.
So anything we can save on, we try to do. We're working on an elevator now. That's going to be some of the ARPA funds are going to be used on that. We're doing the engineering and stuff on it right now. We hired an engineering firm, Archer, out of St. James.
and that was a kind of a little disappointing to me that there was only one bid on this.
Yeah, I was really surprised because when we was going through this, we had people coming and looking, which I'm happy the one that's local,
Right.
Franklin County is local, so I'm glad we do have a local contractor that's going to be building it. So, but yeah, one bid, that's not always good. The competition always makes for better, I think, because it keeps.
But it's the sign of the times, Jerry. You go try to find somebody to help.
Yeah.
You go, Clyde welding, what I'm saying today for us or whatever, the workforce in regard to those skill set are not there. they're void, and I get it. There is so much, growth going on in those kind of things, and the liability and responsibility, Jerry, to go in at 200 year, 100, how old is the court? 125, 50 years old. To go in there and put an elevator in, we were there and we tried to do that. I'm saying when I was there, but there's a lot there when you get into that and go inside that structure. There's a lot of liability, and there's going to be some cracks show up that
no doubt
people are going to be happy about, other elected officials or the public as a whole. But I support that I support getting that thing done, and and glad it's moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there again, we've been working on that
Ever.
you was there 27 years ago. We've looked at elevators, and it's just hard because whenever you lose any space in that courthouse, it's tough. My opinion and my vote was I was hoping it would go outside.
I didn't have a vote.
Yeah,
but outside seemed to make more
well,
sense.
it just you didn't lose any space on the inside. You could, but that's
Right
not the way it
now-
was. That's why they have 3 commissioners and they have other people. So that's fine. I support it. I support an elevator in it. I just wish we could have added some more space in some way.
I understand that, and that's another issue that somebody's going to have to take on down the road, because even though an elevator, in my opinion, is extremely important for accessibility to everybody, because I'm getting to that point where, walking upstairs when the judge makes
Stairs, elevator.
And I sure don't want to walk up there with handcuffs and foot cuffs up, to see the judge. But anyway, I am so thankful that is moving and getting done. It's a tribute, to get that done. All of this said, we do need to address some space issues in the county, because there is not adequate there, and you lose an awful lot. And annexing or doing whatever, however it is. But there's a lot said about, most counties have annexes and whatever. You lose something, what I'm saying, to some degree.
You don't have everything in one spot, but
you lose
it's
a little
possible.
bit.
We looked at different options years ago that didn't work out. I think would have been a very good option, but it just didn't work. We are looking at options now of where we can add some spaces to it. But there again, it's the money issue.
It is.
Maybe down the road there can be something we start in a smaller scale and work up to. But it's just that we're looking at it all the time because we are out of space. You only have so much space in that courtroom. Now we're taking more space away with the elevator. Some of it's coming out of Clyde's office, some of it's coming out of Lisa's, some of it's coming out of the upstairs. So, but it is what it is. That's the most economical place to go. So that's where it's going. We're also doing a lot of work on the outside. We got
yes,
stuff done.
beautiful.
They're doing
gorgeous.
all the tuck point.
Yep.
We did the roof.
Golly.
We got the steps. So we have a lot of stuff going on and
it's a money pit.
Improvements. Yeah.
There's no question it is absolutely a money pit, and it will continue to be. But there's something very stately about it when you come across the river and look at that courthouse.
Yeah.
It's still a remarkable part of Americana.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty cool, to be part of that, no doubt. But talking about the budget and getting back, to those particular situations, those are the drivers that allow us to take care of the growth. Now, the economy is what it is, at this juncture. A lot of inflation still out there, even though I seen signs last night, that maybe some easing here as far as gas prices are concerned, and they're a big situation in the global context of things because everything, one way or the other, has a gas price attached to it. So
Everything's costing more than it did.
There's no question that it is. But how's the county's revenue coming in, Jerry?
County revenue is doing fine. Our sales tax is actually up, and I think the reason a lot of people say, well, people are spending more. Well, yeah, they're spending more because it's costing more.
Exactly,
so that's
right.
Why our revenue's up.
And we get a percentage. The county gets a percentage of that.
So if we're up 8% overall, I don't know exactly what we are, but 6 to 8% overall, prices are up 6 to 8%. So that's where your extra revenue comes from.
It is.
So you're not gaining anything. You know, they talk about inflation's going down. It might went down, but it's still not to where it should be or where it was. You know, same way with fuel prices. You know, fuel prices are, like you said, fuel is tied to everything. You know, whether it's transportation, whether it's the distribution, whether it's the making of it or whatever. Fuel is tied. The fuel cost is tied to everything. And you know, why we are not going back to fuel independence, I have no idea. You know, we've shut all our pipelines down. Now we're buying dirty fuel.
Well, God blessed us. We're sitting, this is a fantastic country. We're lucky enough that our forefathers came here, and we're sitting on a lot of oil and a lot of resources. We're stupid to not use it.
Yeah. But we want to
we rely on other countries that are, well, they're not very stable.
Well, and they're talking about all the climate change, but the other countries are doing this without any type of regulations on it, so they're destroying the climate. And the United States has been a leader in climate control because they've decreased their emissions and everything else by 10-20%.
We try to be clean.
But we don't control anybody else. So so we buy the oil from there where they make dirty, and we can make it cleaner here.
I was in
Doesn't make
Iraq.
sense.
I saw fields of old oil barrels turned over here and there and spilled, and they didn't care.
No.
It was just as dirty as you could. You couldn't believe how dirty it was, to be honest with you.
But our rules and regulations in the United States doesn't allow us to do any of that. So why are we not supporting our own country and getting back to fuel independence?
So actually, the Earth would be better off if that amount of oil was made here, where there's some reasonable rules and some reasonable effort to be clean, versus somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it is a global discussion, you know what I'm saying, but it impacts all of us, there's no question. Utilizing the resources we have is always the first and important thing to do it in a sensible way. I'm not against new technology.
Oh, me.
You know what I'm saying? I bring it on. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, I bring those new technologies on because we have to adapt. But having government control all of those particular elements because they don't know as good as they think they know sometimes.
Well, and that's like the local control. I mean, the more the people keep local control, the better off they are. When you get big government, big cities, big, it just it's not the same. It's not the same. The local people knows how to take care of their own. They do. But when you look at the agriculture, the farmers.
Yep.
They know how to farm the ground. They know how to protect their properties and stuff like this. But you got regulations that stifle them. And you probably see that here.
I mentioned the big picture. I'm saying earlier. Right now, agriculture is leading. I'm saying in a lot of those big picture issues, and you have governments across the world. I mean, when we look at Europe and their change to the right. And the whole nation, agriculture or farmers are some of the people that are bringing that change around, because you got to realize here that government regulations, people writing those regulations don't know sick 'em from bite 'em when it comes to how to keep a calf where it needs to be. And those fencing issues and the equip and all of these other particular things are written in a way that people have no idea in regard to exactly what it is. They're looking at theories. When you've lived your life out there on the soil, you got a respect for it, you know what I'm saying? And those are the driving forces, guys, that are changing because people see that. They're changing the way we do things.
When you say moving to the right direction, you mean as in a more conservative, smaller government?
There is absolutely no question, Clyde, that if you look at Venezuela, you look at all of European, look at the last global leaders that have been elected have all been from the right conservative side of things. Getting back to where it is, and that's why I say governance is what we have to do at this juncture. We have to bring this along longer term, because things don't happen overnight. You don't necessarily want chaos. I don't want the chaos, in government. So I support that, but we need to do the smart things and govern now. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe the pendulum is swinging.
It is.
Back.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, Clyde. And Christianity is another thing. You're getting people at least thinking about getting back, you know what I'm saying, to the values that the Christian, are thinking, you know what I'm saying, and
What this country was
built on.
Built on, absolutely. But, we have to start with our own party. I'm with the Republican Party, but we've got enough infighting in there that we need to get our house
I
in
don't
order
know that I
first.
even say I'm with the Republican. I'm too conservative for the Republican Party. But if there's two choices, the Republicans are always the
Well,
closest
yeah.
how I'm going to vote. I think that I come from a law enforcement background too. There was a time whenever the police officer, the marshal, the sheriff, the chief, he said, "You do this," and you did it, and you had very little trouble. You said yes, sir, and you did it, and everything. Now there is so much disrespect and there's so much chaos because we have become weak. We're not enforcing the laws like they need to be enforced, and that brings about chaos. But I do believe that the pendulum is swinging back to where they see that law enforcement is very important and that law and order is very important. I hope, but it's not going as fast as I wanted it to.
Well, I think you've seen that in a local situation too, I mean, we passed a law enforcement tax here. We've always been for law and order. Conservatives are for, law and order. And, you see that on a continual basis. On the county situation, Jerry, when we look at the bigger budget, maybe 6 to 8%, you indicated total revenue,
Right.
coming in. And that comes from 2 or 3 different places. Sales tax is one of the drivers, but, appreciation on home values and those things is another, although that has to be rolled back to some degree.
Right. If
I mean, you can, I don't remember the exact matrix
I
there,
don't
but,
either, but at least
if your house goes from $100,000 to $200,000, let's say, and you've been bringing in $100 for that $100,000 house, you can't, if it goes to $200,000, you don't, it doesn't double.
No.
You can only roll that back. I think the cost of living, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
is a factor in that, so you can only raise it like maybe 11% or whatever that COLA is.
Right.
So it's not 100%.
And also the state though mandates how you have to be within a certain percentage of the actual value too.
You do have
So
to.
The assessor has a hard job there because we're getting there, I guess, which, cost all of us, which I don't like either, but, he has to stay, has to move it up to stay within their regulations too by law.
I had a conversation with the assessor not too long ago at the honey hole over here at the Dutch Mill, getting coffee one day, and he was talking about the side-by-sides and the ATVs,
Right.
that was there, and I guess maybe the Assessors Association was looking at a way, to title those things and, get a tax base
Right.
on those things so they could be, taxed in regard to that. And, I understand that, but my discussion was that, Paul, I totally understand, what you're talking about because a lot of the ATVs that are here and come by are worth more than any car that I've got.
Me too. Yeah. I can understand, but and there again, when you do something like that, it overall hurts the farmers too, because
It
a
does.
lot of them use it for that. Now, the people that's driving down the roads are using them for pleasure, which is great. I own one myself, so, but, the farmers.
I don't know
they
who
use it
don't
for a
own one.
business.
Clyde
Yeah,
may
yeah,
not
yeah,
own
I
one.
don't own one.
Yeah.
A couple horses and a couple buggies, but I don't own.
Watch it.
I can see why he wants to
Well,
get
I
one,
understand
because-
that, but I don't think that is the right vehicle to bring income in my opinion, because of this, Jerry. That you go through. There's no way to track it. To track the titleship, what I'm saying, to these ATVs is an impossible situation. Many of these were bought on title to begin with.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? There was no title on it
It's just
because
a
it was
state
farm
origin.
loose or whatever. They're on title to begin with, so how do you do the title work in regard to having, something to track them? So the bottom line of it is that there is no way to track them. It's going to cost way too much more to do it. My solution to this, you may not like it, Gary, but, if the county, what I'm saying, or the state would put on a way to have a fee you know what I'm saying, on a sticker. You know what I'm saying, that you drive them in the county, drive them on the county roads, you get a sticker, and you bring in XYZ, $25, whatever it
We
is.
don't already do that.
No.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Do we?
Yeah, we have stickers now.
Do we?
Yeah, through the.
Don't look at my head.
No, through the sheriff's department.
So that's
But now
for county roads.
farmers are, they're again,
They're
they're
exempt.
exempt. So, you know, I mean, there's nothing.
But the
wrong with it.
stickers, how much we get in on that?
$15, I think it's 15.
See, that's pretty
I think it's 15.
reasonable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very reasonable. Cities do it too. Rosebud does it. Owensville does
I
it.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well,
they all
I
have
knew it and I'd forgot it.
Yeah, they all have stickers. and
Charlie's
that's one
gonna
way.
remind me of it.
But,
That's the
but
problem.
I think Scott's talking about not doing it anymore because he said you can't track it. Just like what you said. You know, if someone drives by
I
and
mean,
they
it's
don't have a sticker
basically a
on.
volunteer.
Yeah,
You
it
almost
is.
feel dumb for going in there and spending $15 when no one else is doing
Yeah,
it.
right. So I don't know how much he takes in on it, but we do have stickers as of now. So I don't know what's going to happen next year, whether it continues.
That's for the county roads.
Right.
That's not for.
But it's not mandatory you show whether it's on your personal property tax to get a sticker. So, you know, it doesn't.
There's no,
So
it
in
doesn't-
some-
there's
there's
no
no
way for
governance to
Scott
it.
to track it, so, you know, he can't enforce it.
In
basically.
most counties, but not this county, as I understand. In most counties, the sheriff's department shares that information with the assessor's office that you came in and you got a permit for your four-wheeler, your ATV, or your UTV.
And what a great day to be high. Rain has came, and our drought is officially broken in Charlotte, central Gasconade County, and we've had bucketfuls the last couple of days. I can't give you an official report, but I was at yesterday the gauge was running over, so that's 6 inches. And last night, it had to be that much. Some of our gauges didn't get emptied out, you know, but rained and stormed all night long. But we are in good